Letter from a Birmingham jail, February 18th, 2024. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s favorite song is now playing. It's called Precious Lord. It is the theme song of my ministry. And watch this. Here is Dr. King, and I'm paying a debt to Dr. King, trying to pay a debt that will never be repaid. Here is his letter from a Birmingham jail, part 3. He says, actually, we who engage in nonviolent direct action are not creators of tension. We bring it out in the open where it can be seen and dealt with. Like a boil that can never be cured as long as it is covered up, but must be opened up with all its pus-flowing ugliness to the natural medicines of air and light. Injustice must likewise be exposed with all of the tension its exposure creates, must be brought to the light of human conscience and the air of national opinion before it can be cured. He says, I have been greatly disappointed with the white church and its leaders. Of course, there are some exceptions. I am not unmindful of the fact that each of you has taken a position, has taken some significant stands on this issue. He says, I have heard numerous religious leaders of the South call upon their worshipers to comply with the desegregation decision because it is the law. But I have longed to hear white ministers say, follow this decree because integration is morally right and the Negro is your brother. I hope the church as a whole will meet the challenge of this decisive hour. But even if the church does not come to the aid of justice, I have no despair about the future. I have no fear about the outcome of our struggle in Birmingham, even if our motives are presently misunderstood. We will reach the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over the nation because the goal of America is freedom. Abused and scorned though we may be, our destiny is tied up with the destiny of America. Before the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth, we were here. Before the pen of Jefferson etched across the pages of history the majestic words of Declaration of Independence, we were here for more than 2 centuries. Our foreparents labored for more than 2 centuries. Our foreparents labored in this country without wages. And they made cotton king. And they built the homes of their masters in the midst of brutal injustice and shameful humiliation. And yet, out of a bottomless vitality, they continued to thrive and develop. If the inexpressible cruelties of slavery could not stop us, the opposition we now face will surely fail. I better say that again. If the inexpressible cruelties, I'm reading from the letter, of slavery could not stop us, the opposition we now face will surely fail. He goes on to say, I must close now. But before closing, I am impelled to mention one other point in your statement that troubled me profoundly. He's speaking about the statement that the 8 white preachers had made to him, suggesting that he discontinue his protest in Birmingham. But he said, before I close, I'm impelled to mention one other point in your statement that troubled me profoundly. He says, you warmly commend the Birmingham police for keeping order and preventing violence. I don't believe that you would have so warmly commended the police force if you had seen its angry, violent dogs literally biting 6 unarmed, nonviolent Negroes. I don't believe that you would so quickly commend the police if you observe their ugly, inhumane treatment of Negroes here in the city jail. If you would watch them push and curse old Negro women and young girls, if you would see them slap and kick old Negro men and little Negro boys, if you would observe them as they did on 2 occasions, refuse to give us food because we wanted to sing our grace together. I'm sorry to say, he says, I'm sorry that I can't join you in your praise of the police department. I wish you had commended the Negro sit-inners and demonstrators of Birmingham for their sublime courage, their willingness to suffer, and their amazing discipline in the midst of the most inhumane provocation. One day the South will recognize its real heroes. They will be the James Merediths, courageously and with majestic sense of purpose, facing jeering and hostile mobs and the agonizing loneliness that characterizes the pioneer. They will be the old, oppressed, battered Negro women symbolized in a 72-year-old a woman of Montgomery, Alabama, who rose up with a sense of dignity with her people and decided not to ride the segregated buses, and responded to one that inquired about her tiredness with ungrammatical profundity, saying, my feet is tired, but my soul is rested. They will be the high school and college students, young ministers of the gospel, and a host of elders sitting in at lunch counters and willingly going to jail for conscience sake. One day the South will know that when these disinherited children of God sat down at lunch counters, they were in reality standing up for the best in the American dream and most sacred values in our Judeo-Christian heritage, and thus carrying our whole nation back to the great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers, dug deep by the founding fathers in the formulation of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Dr. Martin Luther King. Goodbye. May God bless you. May God keep you till we meet again.